Great. So just right before Stephanie begins, I'll give a very quick introduction. Felix and Stephanie DeBee, their name actually reflects a piece of nature, the bee, the honeybee. That's true, right? So it is as it sounds. And they're great people that live right in our neighborhood here at St. Patrick's. Stephanie and Felix arrived just about 2 years ago, and for Felix research, and Stephanie was also working, Felix researching at, as we had said, it's at CHOP, correct? With lambs about artificial wombs and helping hopefully one day preemie babies have a longer lease on life, a better chance. And Felix is on call now, even with his lambs. And this is the rhythm of their life. Stephanie knows this.
That's what happens when we are not on holiday to national parks.
Right. They have two modes.
Yeah.
Research or research, two different kinds. Research or recreation. And Stephanie worked for a time for World Youth Alliance, which is a great Catholic-oriented group. They're not exactly that. Founded by Anna Halpin up in New York City. And so the Dominicans have been close to them too. Stephanie and I know a lot of people in common. So I also just want to mention Stephanie has helped with the Wharton Catholic Club. And so these are all of business students living in our neighborhood who she and Tommy Meyerson is listening in, and Isaiah, they were the leads last year. So Felix and Stephanie are fun, bright people. They're generous with their time. And they know how to rough it though. So I'll give one quick story. I was with my family last Christmas because of a wedding, actually right after Christmas down in Florida. And they just happened to be on break passing through. And so they came to the beach and they met with my family and we were all hanging out. Felix threw a perfect spiral. We were going into the waves back and forth, this perfect spiral. I said, Felix, you grew up playing football. He says, this is my first time. I said, wow, this is your first time. This is impressive. They're also both ultra marathoners. So Stephanie, what's the longest you've run? What's your longest race? And what's Felix's? Tell us.
Mine is 42K trail run and Felix 50K.
50K. So nothing. And also I'd like to say this too. They are Belgian. And they have been here for 2 years. And in their short 2-year stay, they're only here for another 7-8 months. Yep. They have already seen lots and lots of our country and the natural landscape and places. So I asked them too, as we're talking about holy places, why don't they present on their travels? Because God is found in nature. He is the author of nature. And there's always just lessons. And I didn't want Stephanie or Felix to go through tons of theology books, just to say their own reflection on their adventures lately, which are in a sense, all places are sacred as they're created by God. And so we leave it to them from their own stories, from their own thoughts, from their own, especially photos. You did bring photos, right? That's the goal?
Some, yeah.
Here we go. So it's the floor is yours until you say so. Okay, thanks.
Thank you for the great introduction, Father Tim. I believe that most of what the encounters and everything that we've been doing here in the US have been such a blessing, and the parish has been one of the biggest ones. So thanks for the opportunity now as well. First of all, why did I mention America's best idea are the national parks? Well, it's not only stolen from the name of the documentary series of Ken Burns on the national parks, but it's just how we also feel about the national parks being, having the main goal of preserving and conserving nature and creation. And so they have been, to our opinion, really well managed and have been very easy to travel towards and in the parks as well. And just to be amazed immediately by all these natural wonders. To leverage a little bit the fact that we are all online and to make it a little bit more fun, or it's fun already, but I would like you to go to this website, menti.com, use the code and enter your name, just for me to see who is able to log in, you can do it on your phone, on just a website on your laptop. I believe everyone is now somewhere online. So let me see where everyone is, and then I can start with some questions just to have some interaction. I hope this works.
Another piece of advice is that you'll have to press on top view options and you exit full screen, because everybody's probably locked into full screen.
Yeah, I see.
Yeah.
Thanks. So perfect, Joanna. Ah, nice. It's okay. I will not take too much time in this question. It's not the most important of the entire presentation, so we can go over it pretty quickly. Nice, Patrick. Wow, that's counting. Well, nice, guys. Okay, I will not. No pressure at all. It's just to go through a few questions and then I will do the entire presentation without this. It's a... Okay. So next, so the next thing that I will bring is a play on words. And so it is a wording that I might use it multiple times during the presentation, and I want you just to discover first what it might be. It's a French word, and it's just to see if, just to test. Okay, so the question is, what does it mean, clin d'yeux? You have 15 seconds to answer this question, and then we'll see who is, how many people are correct. Okay. Mm-hmm. Shoot, I thought it was more difficult than that. Okay, we have already 8 answers. I believe that's enough just to reveal the answer. Yes, indeed, it was a wink of God. And why is that? So we use this very regularly just to say, like, in the situations or the paths that we go forward, the presence and a little wink of God that we receive. So it comes from a clin d'œil is a wink of the eye, and then Dieu is looks a little bit the same as a plural of eyes. So, well, just a little bit of explanation, but to give a reference to the moments that I will refer to the clin d'yeux. Next up is just to see what you all know about the national parks. Very short questions. I will ask 2 to 3 questions and see what the knowledge is about the national parks, just in general. So the first question will be, you have also a few seconds normally to answer, will be, it should pop up. Okay, yeah, next question is normally coming up now. So what is the first national park that has been established? You have 15 seconds to answer. The answers will pop up, so be careful. No, not with your name. Time's up, and the answer was, well, we have many correct ones. It was indeed Yellowstone National Park. Next, when was this park established? What was the year of establishment? Six more seconds. Okay. And okay, There's one person correct, and because the answer was 1872, so much older than the 20th century. It was established by Ulysses Grant, President Ulysses Grant, for the reason that mostly, well, to preserve the entire place, but not to get the same result as in Niagara Falls. Next question is, what was the promotion campaign slogan for the National Park Service? It's one of the last questions, so we can continue with the presentation then. Oh. Get out there, nice. Yes, the answer was See America First. So where does it come from? It was basically by the railroad system that they wanted to promote people more on the East Coast, the upper class, to go and visit the national parks. And this came really more to effect, or had an effect during World War I, when there was all traffic between on the sea was not possible. So that's how it really got a lot of success. And then the last question. How many national parks are in the US? 5 seconds. Okay, and the answer was 62. Nice. We have most of the people were correct. Compared to Belgium, we have 0, of course. The size of Belgium is not even the size of Maryland, so that's also normal. So these were, the questions, and I will continue sharing my screen and then go to, through this presentation, we really want to share with you the awe of all the wonders and the natural creations through sceneries, fauna, flora from the national parks, and share this together with some experience that we had along the journey, some reflections linked to what we learned about God, but also linking to and so just in general, the national parks for us have been always part of a journey with the destination. And we received already multiple presentations that it is a sacred place. And so we can see that national parks are also a sacred place, as it is a beautiful representation of the creation. And so it's been also along the way a good time to be aware of all distractions, take time to reflect and pause, but also what was really remarkable about the national parks is they are so well managed. As I said, they provide a lot of knowledge about history and the creation itself. And so every time we learn more, it again brings you more in amazement about what is all this that has been created by him, and also it brings us every time to God. And so apart from that, the nice thing was also the people that you meet, and actually they may be from all walks of life, but everyone is amazed about all that nature. It's, I believe, first it was the realization of this is the only place where we all agree on what we see. It's we can have different beliefs, different views. We were all amazed, and so that's more the universal truth of beauty we saw. And actually the where it all began was Glacier National Park. Do you see my screen actually big, or is it a small picture?
It looks like a cell phone screen, just kind of a strip down the middle.
Better?
That's better.
I'll zoom in a bit. Okay, well, let's try it with this. Okay, so it all started in Glacier National Park in Montana. And how actually did we got in Montana was thanks to the Rolfings. Jamie and Sarah Rolfing. Some of you might know them or recognize them, but they were also parishioners here at St. Pat's. Were one of the first people that we met that were and we got along very fast. And they invited us to discover actually a little bit more than just Philadelphia or the East Coast and visit them on where they live in Montana. And so really cool, they live now on a llama farm, very remotely, but they were so kind to invite us to how they also call Montana as God's country. Probably Felix was most excited about the fact that he could shoot guns, but overall this was a really nice invitation to visit. And so that's also how we got there, and that we were able to visit as First National Park Glacier. Glacier in general is more, you can recognize it with the huge amount of lakes thanks to the glaciers that were once there. So little by little it's all melting away, but still it remains a remarkable place with not many people that are there at the same time. Something also really cool about Montana was that we had to go all the way to Montana to learn about Father Jean-Pierre de Smet. Probably many of you know them, but for us it was completely new. Father, a little bit of background. So Father, the first moment that we read the name, we saw a lot of explanation in the park and the surroundings about the work of this Father Jesuit priest, and we said like, this sounds a lot like Flemish, like how we and our families are called. So you have to know Felix is really, really proud of his where he comes from, and so he was so sure that this father came from his area because it was a hardworking, very Catholic person. We have many missionaries coming from his area, but in the end we did some research and we found out that he was born and raised in my little town. And so that was, of course, a little bit a hit on his ego, but in the end we learned a lot about him being very important to the conversion of native tribes in the area, being also an Indian friend, and helping out in playing the mediator in US government's attempts to secure lands for settlement of whites. And so that was something remarkable. Oh,
I'm back from
he's back.
done with the shift. So I'm here for moral support, but your screen is not completely shared.
Really?
Let me give me a second. Your screen.
Welcome.
Portion of the screen.
That's much better. It's more full screen now.
Sounds good.
Felix, she was saying about how you were wrong.
I heard everything. I heard everything. And the thing is that I was super sure, you know, like really, really sure. But yeah, I mean, that happens in marriage, these things. So, wait a minute.
There we go. That's
Now you have everything probably.
So, sorry. Just.
Maar dan moet je dat eerst in die control F5.
Ja.
Staat er nu in.
F5. Anyway, sorry. One more second. Sorry.
Dat is goed.
Was het goed?
Ja.
Kijk. Ja, en nu? Kijk, nu ga ik dat doen. Ja?
Ja.
Is dat
Nice.
goed?
Yes, almost.
Ja, maar
Ja.
kijk, nu die. Zo. Oké. Back
Now.
to... Yeah.
that looks good right there.
Okay, sorry for the hiccup. But great talk, wife.
He's a support. Okay, so we got Glacier. The next amazing park really close by is Yellow National Park. So we know already that this is the first one established, and for all the reasons that I will just say now and what you will see. This park is amazing in so many ways, animal-wise, nature, and really natural wonders. So the park is has an expansive network of geothermal and volcanic areas. And so you see it includes a lot of boiling mud pots, geysers, and even like very colorful hot springs, like the previous one. This is a Grand Prismatic Spring. The colors are all created via or thanks to thermophilic bacteria. And so depending on the environment, the temperature, and other aspects, I'm not a geologist, but that's what I understood, is that it all has a different impact, as you will see here on the next slide. All the bright colors can change from blue to yellow, orange. It's just incredible to realize, okay, what is this creation? And as I said as well, the park, we saw many wildlife just all over the place. The bison cross over the roads, they block cars. We waited, I believe, like more than 1 hour just to have the whole herd of the bison crossing over. Another little selection of beautiful animals that we found there on the paths. Maybe a little tip to see these wildlife is really is starting very early, and still bring also your bear spray, because they are on the hikes. So that was quite cool to see, and it brings you again in amazement about the creation of the animals and all the, come on, yeah. Also very close, and still a little bit, or not still, but in the same type of environment with huge mountains, is a Grand Teton National Park. It's a little bit lower than Yellowstone. And that one is very remarkable for other reasons, and that is that these mountain ranges are actually the youngest of all the mountain ranges in Northern America. If you compare them, so 10 million years old with, for example, the Appalachian Trail of 300 million years old, that really explains why they still have these huge peaks and less effect of erosions. And what is also very remarkable of that is that you have the absence of foothills. So you just have mountains, and immediately next to the mountain there is plain or water from the lake. And so that is you can explain that, or it is explained through the two earth crusts that were pushing towards each other, and then also sometimes effects of more stretching, that it lifted up one part of the crust and pulled down or sunk the valley floor. And so that was the effect that it gave in this environment. So yeah, that was just really cool to see, and very powerful, or something incredible to know how world develops and evolves. The first clin d'œil, so I refer to the clin d'œil, this is the first one, is this little chapel, very, very cute, in the middle of nowhere in Grand Teton. We were there already for 3 days without any service, not knowing where to go to mass, what time there was mass. So the moment that we just passed this sign and the chapel, we got information, and it turned out that mass was about to start in 5 minutes, and the only mass of Sunday and the entire week. So that was like, oh, okay, this is what we should do. This is God again calling us. And we got this beautiful mass in a small chapel, beautiful in wood. And nice fact also is, I believe that was the day that Cici and Tommy, that are also in this call, got married. So we were in prayer and in thought with them. We were not able to be at their wedding. So that was also very special to us.
It was a happy day, thanks.
We know. Then this is completely different in sceneries, in wildlife, in place. The Everglades National Park in Florida doesn't have any hills or mountains. It's completely swampy with a
And
lot
I
of.
also add very quickly, Stephanie, that my mom asked you both on the beach, so where are you staying the night when you go to the Everglades? And you both said, oh, we're just going to sleep in the car. And she was taken aback, but she also thought that was great.
That is also how we travel in the national parks, in the car. But actually the reason why we got on the road to the Everglades, and Father Tim, you spoiled my little surprise, but was actually, oh wait, sorry, my screen. No, it's not the animals, but it was Father Tim. Florida man invites the Belgians to play football and not soccer. It's funny how we got the same little memory and joke. So indeed, we were very, very happy to spend some time with Father Tim's family on the beach.
Because what it was is you said, where are you going? I said, Florida. Then you thought, wait, maybe we could go to Florida. That's kind of it, right?
Yes. Yeah.
And then upstage us by doing more extreme things.
True. So yeah, that was a fun little anecdote and experience with Florida. Another park that we visited was very special in a sense that it was the first time we came out of our little apartment during COVID. The park was closed, and maybe still now, if you read on the website, it is closed, but no, you can go. It's just the big road to access with the car is closed, but all the little roads that go towards that park and the park loop are open. So that's maybe an idea for people that thought it was closed. It is a really good time to go, as there are not a lot of people. Acadia National Park is in Maine, just for your information, up north. Remarkable for its granite peaks, ocean shoreline all over, and yeah, a place where we were completely alone, and which allowed us again to reflect a little bit more and see more wildlife that popped up across the street, which is always filled with cars, and this time and completely empty. And probably people went already and experienced it in a way that it was full of tourists. Well, that was a blessing to be able to visit this place without all the distractions. Then we were also able to spend a little bit of time in Utah, and I believe that was my favorite place, just for it's just incredible what you see there. The fact that this is work of millions of years, the grandeur that you observe there and experience is amazing, and realizing that as a person you are so tiny and so actually just a passenger along the way and the evolution of this earth, and realizing that 10 generations before us must have seen just the same sceneries of this. This is work of millions of years, sedimentary rocks that are carved out by the rivers, the Colorado River and the Green River. And so yeah, that is very special in a way that it gives you more sense of what is eternal. Yeah, a little bit some more pictures. This was also for us the first time that we drove an American truck. We got maybe a little bit more overexcited because we took it off-road, which was beautiful, and again, a way to experience much more these wonders. But it had the effect that we drove a flat. We still don't know, we're still figuring out who was the one that drove the flat, because I also did a little part, but luckily it happened right the moment that we got back on the paved road. So that was again a little clin d'oeil, and the third clin d'oeil was that we we had the flat right at the place in the middle of nowhere where nobody was. It was COVID. It is still COVID. It was very desolate. That there was one young guy from California climbing the rocks, able to help us and very kind to help us so excitingly. That this was again how we didn't get too much in problems, and that we were able to enjoy the rest of the trip. But so third clin d'œil is really the kindness of this young guy, Justin, from California. Also in Utah is the Arches National Park. Yes, again, it's just so difficult to understand how these rock formations were created. Also work of millions of years. In these places, you see many sandstone arches, also balancing rocks. And that's what is cool there in these places is it always takes a little hike to get to a spot like this, to see it very close. But it's really cool to sit there and hear everyone that goes with that same goal towards that beautiful place, and all be in awe and in amazement about this beautiful formation. And so you feel immediately the bond. Everyone believes the same, everyone sees the same, but also finds it incredibly beautiful. So that universal truth of beauty comes out really well in these places. What we learned a lot, and so Mesa Verde National Park is when you go a little bit more down from Utah back to Colorado, on the way there is Mesa Verde National Park. It is less known for its vast natural wonders, but more providing some history about the people that also live there. And so you receive very close by proof of what I have to admit someone of many archaeological sites of the ancestral Pueblans that were living there. And so it's crazy to see how these people didn't carve out these places. These are cliff dwellings where people built their homes to protect themselves, but also just to live, and then use the Mesa Verde, so all the green on top of that, because it's a nice place where you have a lot of green, where they did then all their farming, etc. But just to say that the national parks also provide a really good presentation of the people that were inhabiting these places before that they were settled or completely like taken to show the Americans. The next. So for example, also in Montana, we learned a lot about the flatheads, the Blackfeet, the Sioux. So they here in Mesa Verde were more the Pueblans. Final big part or region that we were so blessed to visit together with Cici and Tommy was in Alaska. And the first one is the Kenai Fjords, very remarkable place where mountains, ice, and the ocean meet. So it's that national park protects one of the biggest ice fields that still exist. Well, I don't know if it's the biggest, because if you just fly over, you see almost only ice fields, but that Harding ice field has many glaciers that come down. So the next picture shows that is, yeah, so the Harding ice field really has almost more than 35 glaciers that how you say, carve or move downwards and carve out the fjords, and that's also where the name comes from, Kenai Fjords. And so the fjords are really these glacial valleys that are long, very narrow also, and steep. So what I was really amazed of in this place is realizing the evolution, seeing very closely the contrast between how it was millions of years ago, and then in another valley, seeing the remnants of what the effect is of the melting ice, and the formations in the rocks are all also due to these movements of ice. But yeah, it's very special to see. Also, there is the different another variety of animals that we were very blessed to encounter, including, for example, the puffins. Maybe a little fact about the puffins: they are very small compared to the other birds that you might see there, and they are one of the few birds that can carry more than 20 fish in their beak, and they tend to eat a lot as well. And so even the little pufflings eat a lot, so mom and dad need to bring a lot of food. But as they eat a lot and they have very short wings, they need to flap their wings multiple times more than other animals, any other birds. So it's funny to see them in the sky, difficult to go from the water back in the sky, and flapping like many times more than others, as they are not able to get back in the air. But yeah, that is just funny to see these little clowns, sea clowns, doing that. And then yeah, along all these trips, of course, in the parks, you hike a lot, you encounter many people. All these people are there to explore the same thing and have the same destination. So on one hand, we really get to know a lot of people and still are in contact with them. But on the other hand, the best thing is also to do it together with friends. And so Cici and Tommy, we had a lot of fun time together with them in that part of the state. We tried to look a lot for the biggest mountain in Alaska. A little note: all the pictures that I showed are taken by us, but there was one picture that I didn't take, and that was the one from the Denali, because we were not able to see it for the week that we were there. So that was really sad, but still, it's still beautiful to know that it's there, and that many people are able to climb it as well. And what I wanted to say there, yeah, it's so doing that together with friends also improves the friendship, and yeah, I don't know, it's I cannot put more words on it. Another huge national park in that area is Wrangell St. Elias. That is, fun fact, it is the largest national park. It's also the least visited national park because it's just so far away, and it has such it's so big, and there is only one road actually to drive in, and so there is so much to see, and which you cannot do in such a short amount of time. But it's full of glaciers that are possible to hike. We hiked there with only one crampon on every foot, so we had only 2 pairs, and we divided them under with the 4 of us. So that was a challenge, but fun to do. And what else did I? Yeah, the meeting people was one thing, as I said. Then really experiencing these creatures, these creations together with friends, but is really great. But then another thing is that we met also other great people on the road. These are family friends from Sisi. We've been hosted so generously by them, and that is also something remarkable in the national parks, where people that work in the parks are very kind and generous. The people that have commerce, like for tourism more, are the most kind and honest. And then meeting the Pattons family with their generosity in food and activities and just their experiences of life were really, really beautiful just to receive. So to wrap up a little bit, link all the journeys and all the national parks to a pilgrimage, really. I put them here a little bit in a list, but it's a little bit summary of what I try to provide you during this little slideshow. But these places, the national parks, have been, since their inception, provided for rest, for sanctuary, and also to enjoy really the creation. And so it's a journey towards a more sacred place, and these journeys allow us to think and contemplate more the creation, to take the time and be away from all the distractions, and all that awakens really a huge sense of thankfulness, of praise also towards what we all have received, and of course the amazement of the grandeur. They also allowed us, and I like the definition from Father Tim, the first presentation, of it's also moving feet. It's not only that internal reflection that it allows you to do, but it's also providing the opportunity to challenge yourself physically, and that's what we also really try to do during these trips and hikes, and just taking the best of it, and using also what we received with our own body. And so, as I said, yeah, the natural beauty, like the arches, the canyon lands, the glaciers all over it, everyone agrees, and everyone is in so amazement of this, what has been created. And then lastly, as I said, it really creates this brotherhood with people that we know already, that we got to know better than new people, and not talking about practicalities, but just sharing the grandeur and the amazement. So what does it then teach us about God? It's probably Father Tim and Father Hyacinth and many others can explore this further and in more detail, but in my simple state, what it really taught us is, and how God revealed himself through nature, is through the beauty of these natural wonders, the grandeur, the majesty, the creativity in all the different sceneries or environments, the kindness of all the people that you meet along those routes, the generosity of them, and then as well that community. And God revealed himself a lot to us through the Glaciers that I shared with you. And then, of course, my next slide. Yeah, after God saw that everything was good, after 6 days of creating heaven, earth, animals, the seasons, he rested from all the work. And so as Belgians, we still love beers. We tend to rest as well on the top of a mountain or anywhere with a good local beer. So that as a note to end, I wish to thank you for your attention. And if you have questions, feel free to share. Thank you.
Thank you, Stephanie. It's a great note to end on. There's actually a Catholic blessing in Latin and in English for the blessing of beer, one of God's sacred creatures. So that's true. There is an official blessing. So yeah, we have a few minutes here. We're just at about the hour mark, and it was really great. And so some people may just have enjoyed it, and it was a beautiful meditation on this land we live in. And also, I think you made great points, Stephanie, about God journeying along the way, people opening towards each other. There's just, we've all experienced that when traveling. And also just the good providence when God guides you and makes sure even bad moments don't turn out so bad. You know, I remember one time, just to share a brief story, I was on a really rough train ride going to Greece, and we were doing some sightseeing and doing a marathon. And a friend of mine, he had the breeze blow through the window, and he saw his bookmark of Padre Pio float from the wind and then down in between his seat and the door. It's like really tight. It's really hard to get your hand in there. And he reached down there and he found the bookmark of Padre Pio, but he also found his passport, which had also fallen down. It's just, God definitely goes along. Everybody who travels, everybody who leaves the house, there's stories, you know, stories of what they've seen and also stories of how God has been with them. So let's take a few very brief questions. A lot of people on the chat are just saying, thank you, this is great. Just a few quick questions from the chat. How many of the 62 parks did you visit? 10, 12?
Yeah, I think 12.
But you visited good ones.
Yes, yes. There are still many, but we've saw already a lot, yeah.
A lot of people are saying positive things too about just thank you, wonderful to reflect, learn, to see these things. What another one says that, did you camp in any of the parks?
Yes. Wait, no, not inside the park, always outside. We tend to find nice places outside the parks as well, less crowdy. We like to be more outside. So to answer the question, in the park, no.
Okay, that's a good.
We don't book a lot in advance, so that's probably also the reason that we are not able to make it in these campgrounds. Yeah.
Spontaneous. That's great. Anybody else too want to tune in for? We have a few minutes for questions, either through the chat or you could also unmute and share with us.
I have a question. I was just wondering if you have any other national parks that you want to visit before the end of the year, if there's any more on your list.
Yeah. Yes, we always we always said before that we leave, we want to see the West Coast, so probably those national parks more in Arizona and in California. So yeah, and then we might visit Tommy and Cece again in a few weeks when they will live in Tennessee. So we might do Shenandoah on the road.
And you might also want to do Smoky Mountains.
And Smoky Mountains too. Yeah. Yeah.
What about someone says, which of the national parks would you want to visit again if you could revisit? Which?
Yeah, for Felix, it's the Tetons. Yeah, definitely the Tetons.
Well, Felix is a very dramatic person. These are dramatic mountains, so they match his soul.
Very true.
See that?
Yeah, the Tetons very much, because there are so many possibilities to do more backcountry camping, and yeah, you reach only a little small part with one hike in a day. So definitely that. And for me, I believe Wrangell St. Elias. Also, just knowing that it's so big and that you're only able to do a little part by accessing the road. And yes, I believe that is really a place that I would like to spend more time.
That's great.
Very special.
Well, anyone else too? Last call for questions live, comments. We could wrap up with a prayer. Let's wrap up with a prayer. Ready? In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. Lord God, you are the creator of all living things, and we praise you. And we ask that you continually open our hearts to the beauty of the world around us and also the beauty of our neighbors. By your grace, may our hearts be more open to the world you have created in each of our neighbors. May you also give to us, each of us gathered here, and all of your children worldwide, the grace to have a deeper respect and care for creation, for it is your handiwork. And we ask this through Christ Jesus our Lord, through whom all things are made, he who lives and reigns forever and ever. Amen. Everybody, next week we'll be tuning in for a slightly different theme, mission trip. Father Hyacinth, who's been to India and many other places, and Rose Cochran, who's been to Haiti, and it'll be a great theme of, yes, travel, yes, pilgrimage to holy places, but even to those places that are suffering, that are in need to serve. And so we're going to talk mission trip next week as to finish our series. Then we'll have a new series, first a little town hall, and then we'll be talking soon about St. Patrick Church history. Peace to you all, and thanks for tuning in. Bye now.
Thank you, fathers.
Thank you.
Thank you, Felix.
Everyone.
Thank you, everyone.